South Carolina gets a scare in Starkville, but finds a way to remain undefeated. Hello, everyone. Welcome to SlasherU. I'm your host, Christian Rao, here with my co-host, Steve Feck. We're going to break down South Carolina defeating Mississippi State 58-51 to remain 16-0. I'm sure we'll see them continue to be number one in the country once the new rankings come out after this one, but it wasn't pretty. At the beginning of this game. Now, they didn't lose the lead at all in the second half, but this was their worst shooting performance of the season by far. They shot and I mean, when we talk about the number one team in the country, I'm about to say this number, Steve. I mean, they shot 30.3% from the field. They shot 22.2% from the 3-point line, and they still found a way to win this game by 7. That just tells you that it wasn't very good on the other side. South Carolina did very good defensively to secure this win, but shooting-wise, a lot of question marks from the number one team in the country, Steve.
Yeah, and I think you need to also give kudos to Mississippi State. Both of these teams are in the top 10 nationally in basically every rebounding category. And almost all of the defensive metrics, both of these teams are in the top 10. If a team like South Carolina, it's not like they were taking bad shots or that they were taking, they were just taking it Mississippi State for granted. It's not like they were playing like a non-conference game, maybe where they took their foot off the accelerator a little bit. Mississippi State is really good in the paint. The Lady Bulldogs play a really aggressive form of defense. So that led as much to South Carolina struggling at times in this game to their shooting as it was that South Carolina had a bad night. I mean, I must have read like 5 different articles, and they were talking about how South Carolina is averaging beating their opponents by more than 30 points a game, and it's the best in the country and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? You didn't have teams like Mississippi State to play the brand of defense that they did. That's why they weren't able to go up by 30 points, because Mississippi State can match them defensively as far as their intensity, as far as knowing how to position themselves and attack the boards, attack the perimeter. Mississippi State is not at South Carolina's level. I mean, I'm not sure there's a lot of NBA teams, never mind WNBA teams, that play defense like South Carolina does. But Mississippi State needs to be applauded because they played their game and they just did not let up.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, definitely a shout out to Mississippi State for playing good there. They moved to 12-5 on the year. I'm sure we're going to hear more about them once the season rolls around. Aaliyah Boston, we saw her play 31 minutes in this one, 12 points, 15 rebounds. She got a double-double in this one. She was really the reason why they won this game. Even though she didn't shoot the best either, she shot the best on the squad, 5 for 13 with that 12 points. Cook had a rough go. Even though she still got 16 points in this one, she shot 4 for 17. That was some of the biggest issues, I think, what the shooting was. And she kept shooting, though, which I applaud. Even though that she wasn't having the best time at the hoop, she had open opportunities, and she took them. So I applaud that she still took the shots. If they would have lost this game, maybe we would have not applauded. Maybe we'd have a different thought about this. However, they found a way to still win the game. And when you're talking about what we saw from them, Austin and Cook and the rest of the team, when you're talking about them shooting 20 for 66, and 5 of them coming from Boston. So what we're talking about, only 15 shots going in from the rest of the squad. Yeah. A lot of question marks from the number one team. I'm sure Dawn Staley is going to have some words with her team before they get into their next game coming up in the middle of the week.
Again, I mean, she expects nothing less than, I don't want to say perfection, but really, I think she expects, excellent performance from every one of her players. That's what good coaches do. Where she can walk away and go into practice before she may chide some players or I don't want to say chide the effort, because again, Mississippi State dictated that South Carolina was going to have some problems. On the defensive boards, it was pretty even. Okay, 31-28. But offensive boards, the Gamecocks scored 20 second chance points on 22 offensive rebounds. Mississippi State had 7 offensive rebounds and only converted 2 points. So you're right there. That's the difference. I mean, again, is that something that the Gamecocks do on a regular basis. They do attack the offensive boards. They do get a lot of second chance points, but that kind of disparity, that shows how well South Carolina played defense in this game as well. I mean, you and I have been talking about the great effort by Mississippi State, and it was. And I think teams are going to see this game in the SEC and say, "Oh man, I don't want to have to face this game." Especially if it's a back-to-back, or if it's a game, you just had a tough contest. Now you got to play Mississippi State. I'm sure those coaches are going to be tossing and turning, the nights before. But that right there, for me, shows you why South Carolina is so good. Even if they're having struggles somewhere, there is one part of the game that they're going to shine in. And I think there was that. What we didn't mention, and if you look at the score sheet, it might not be as obvious. I thought Raven Johnson played the best game that she's played in a long time. Certainly, she's no longer, the starting point guard. She had some great we were all excited about some of the early season performances she put up. But she doesn't seem to have let that down. I mean, maybe she's not scoring a lot of points anymore, but I mean, she has energy. And I thought, she played a solid 22 minutes. It wasn't just she was out there for 22 minutes. She played a solid 22 minutes. So I think that it's another good sign. Again, a young player, Staley maybe cutting down her minutes, letting her sit, watch, observe what's going on. And now maybe she's ready to reassume that starting point guard job. And if that happens, I don't see anybody beating South Carolina.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely. As for South Carolina, they look to move to 17-0 and 4-0 in the SEC against the Kentucky Wildcats, who have not won a game in the SEC yet. They are struggling, just like their counterpart men's team as well. They've lost their last three, the UGA, Arkansas, and Missouri. They are 0-3 in the SEC. They're going to take on South Carolina. We're going to see that at 7:00 Eastern on Thursday, SEC Network. It's in Kentucky. Kentucky is currently 8-8 against 16-0 South Carolina. This is a good bounce back game. I know that we're talking about undefeated team having a bounce back game, but that's exactly what they need. We need to see a better shooting performance from this squad. We saw great defense, so I'm sure we can expect that, but seeing a good offensive production from South Carolina, it's going to be a deep bench because they're going to get a lot of players in rotation here, probably in this one. Definitely something they need from South Carolina. Let us know your thoughts in the comment description below. Hit like and subscribe while you're there. And thanks for watching SlasherU.